Hello, I'm Jenny, and I love fabric. I love the colors, I love the texture, I love those quirky prints. But sometimes I wonder to myself, why can't fabric be stickers? And it turns out, surprise, fabric stickers are real. And they're just called raw edge applique. And I think you're gonna wanna get on board. We're about to stick these on everything. Where's my phone? Why, it's in my phone pocket, of course. Okay, I don't think that this is gonna be a tricky and in-depth tutorial today because I'm looking at this and this is just gonna be really fun. So if you've been keeping up with the quilted pillow projects, I am making, instead of 4 custom pillows, I am making 4 pairs of pillows. Nobody knows why. One of which uses a technique that I'm very familiar with, a traditional piecing technique or a pattern that I've used before. And one of them in the pair, I'm gonna use a new technique, a new to me technique that I've never done before for funsies, to see how it looks, to take a chance, because it's good to stretch ourselves. So if you have been watching these videos, you may have watched the video that I did about curved piecing, and I made a lunar landscape quilt with some curved piecing, and we used the Luna and Laurel collection from Art Gallery Fabrics, and we had kind of a big floral print on a black background as the inspiration fabric for that one. This time, we have a pretty different fabric. They don't really go together, but that's okay. These were chosen by someone else. This is an Alexander Henry print from Folklorico, which I love, which is why I have so much of it. And it's got kind of Mexican folkloric iconography on it. And I think what drew the person to it was these big, bold flowers and the dark color palette. So that is the way in which it's similar to that Luna and Laurel fabric from that last pillow. But today we're gonna use this as our back inspiration fabric, and we're gonna do the new to me technique, raw edge applique, and we're gonna use this different print from Folklorico. Same collection, same designers, but so much more color. And we are going to basically play with stickers today. So I've got my floral fabric. I've got my Heat and Bond Ultra Hold. This is an Ultra Hold iron-on adhesive, paper backed, and we're gonna use probably scissors. So fabric scissors instead of a rotary cutter, which is unusual for these sorts of projects. And let's get started. Okay, so I don't usually start in ironing board mode, but I don't usually do projects like this. So what I have here is my inspiration fabric. Keep it in our minds. I have my backing, my quilt backing fabric. This is not going to show, unfortunately, because it's beautiful. And then I've got my background fabric that I chose for the pillow top. This is a navy, and it's got little tiny pluses on it. This is Added Up from Ruby Star Society. I just didn't have a lot of navy fabrics, and I really wanted to bring out the navy that's in there. It's just a two-toned fabric, so I just wanted to bring out the tone that you see less. And so that's going to be a nice dark background for our bright colors on top. Now I've got my applique fabric, and I've already pressed the fusible side of they're both fusible side, the non-paper-backed side of my Heat and Bond Ultra. And I've got some 5-inch squares that I thought would make nice little accent fabrics for this. So you can see I've just got some of the same colors, and this is in case I want little tiny extra details, and I thought I might, so I've already put the fusible on the back of just these 4, and I have more fusible if I need it, so I can do that, but I just wanted to have some handy. And I've got my fabric scissors, important. So I think I'm just gonna start cutting. Like I said, this is my new to me technique, and I thought to myself, you know, maybe I should learn how to do needle turn applique, learn how to do applique the, you know, original way, the way our forefathers and foremothers did it. But then I remembered that I'm a grown-up and I can do whatever I want. And sometimes, if you're like me, remembering that you're a grown-up really makes you want to play with stickers. So that's what I chose to do instead. I'm a grown-up. I'm just gonna play with stickers. I don't know if I want this stem, so I'm gonna keep it for now. Cut it all the way to the bottom of the stem in the fabric, because you can always cut it off after if I decide that it does not belong in my composition. Adding this Heat and Bond to the back makes it really stiff. It's just like cutting paper. I don't know that non-fabric scissors, that paper scissors would work on this. Why bother? Get the sharp stuff. I'm starting with the largest, lushest flower. This is gonna be my centerpiece. Check her out. I think I can stick it anywhere. They're just stickers, you guys. I'm gonna cut out a few more of these, and then I'll show you what I've come up with as far as composition. This is so fun. I'm here. I cannot overstate how fun this was. So I've been cutting out my stickers, and I've got them laid out in a way that I think is cool. You know, I tried to stick with some of the motifs from the folklorico pattern back here. We've got some little flower shapes that I folded my paper fabric and cut them like paper dolls so they would be a similar shape. I cut out some sort of repeating dots, kind of polka dots, and we're gonna put those in little repeating groups. And then all that's left to do is take off the backing, which I've done on this side, the elements on this side, and you'll see that it's a little bit shiny. It's a sticker now. We're just putting them in our little sticker book, a little fabric sticker book. That one's already done. I've got the big one here. Oh, so satisfying. It's gonna look perfect right there, our biggest element. And now I kind of want my little teardrop flowers. I don't know what kind of flowers these are supposed to be. Lily of the Valley. We want them kind of arcing over the top of this flower. And these were all pretty rough cut. It's kind of a wildflower look. You know, this is a really scattered print going on back here. So I don't think that it needs to be, you know, a balanced composition, I think. I'm gonna lean into the chaos as usual. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And even these dots were just rough cut with scissors with my accordion folded paper, like folded in quarters rather. Like a little paper doll. Okay. Now I've got my Cricut Easy Press over here. You can just use an iron, and you're gonna wanna hold it over each sort of quadrant for 20 seconds. And the Cricut Easy Press just counts it down. That's why I'm using that. And when it's done here, I'm gonna move it to the totally opposite corner so that I don't have any overlap or I'm burning anything. And then I'm gonna do a different quadrant each time. You get the idea. Stickers. Now this really fits the folk art vibe of this back. So I'm really pleased with that layout. Theoretically, because this is Heat and Bond Ultra, one would not need to stitch it. And this is, you know, according to Heat and Bond, a permanent bond. But I have a quilting machine and I am a quilter. So I think there's maybe no harm in just free motion quilting around the raw edges here. Or if you have a machine that does a zigzag stitch or a blanket stitch, I would use a monofilament, the clear thread, to do a blanket stitch or a zigzag stitch around those edges, or just a straight stitch on your free motion machine, just free motion around all the curves. Anything goes. We are grown-ups. We are grown-ups who get to make the rules about how we play with stickers. So I am gonna free motion some of the edges of these raw edges of these stickers, and then we'll figure out how we want to attach it to our quilt back. Here she is. Honestly, I feel like I was really putting off making this video because I don't usually do applique, and I was worried about raw edge applique because it feels like cheating a little bit and I wasn't sure how to do it. And I did actually make quite a few mistakes. So you can't tell from the finished project here, the finished product, the finished project, but I had a really hard time stitching around the edges of my applique. And some of you experienced applique people out there might know that it's because I used the Ultra, the Heat and Bond Ultra, which is sort of made for a permanent bond. And if you try to stitch through it too much, you're gonna gum up your needle. If you use Heat and Bond Light or Wonder Under, you're gonna have a not meant to be permanent bond, but you are able to stitch through it, no problems. So live and learn. I could have checked the dosage there, but I did manage to outline my shapes and gum up several needles. And then I went ahead and quilted with my walking foot, some straight lines, and that was really no problem. It didn't wreck my needle at all. And those shapes are pretty well on there. And they're still so huggable, squishable. So I feel like if there's any lesson that you should take from this video, it's stickers. They're stickers. You can just put stickers on everything. There's no rules. You can just stick it on. Unbelievable. Stickers. See you next time.